the good news. I'm Doc.
And I'm TJ.
And we are so delighted and excited that you are tuned in to the good news with Doc and TJ.
All of our viewers know that we are in Atlanta.
Yes.
And since Atlanta has been on the world stage, at least the national stage, all this week,
Yeah.
I think everyone knows that we are dealing with snow and ice. It's amazing how 2 inches can shut down a whole metropolitan city.
Can you really call it snow if it's only 2 inches?
It looked pretty fluffy like snow to me. I made a snowman
No,
and a snowball.
Because I have friends and people I know from places like New York and Ohio and all these different Midwestern and up north states, and they just laugh at 2 inches of snow.
They did. Those that are here didn't laugh at it this week
That's
because
true.
we had the unusual occurrence, I think, of school not being completely canceled because the snow was not predicted to happen until later in the afternoon. And so school was in for most of Metro Atlanta. They began releasing both businesses, schools, government, everybody at the same time. And this began around 1 o'clock on Tuesday. And wow, both of our rides that were at least triple. It took me about 3.5 hours to get home. Normally it takes me 20 minutes.
6 hours it took. And the interesting thing about it, 3 of those hours, well, really probably 4 of those hours was less than 5 miles away from
Walking
home.
distance
Yes,
to the house.
Walk to the house.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's me just who moved my cheese, and I'm just thinking in a minute now traffic just go break open and I'll just be able to start driving.
I think there was a lot of that we're so used to because we have such efficient first responders. We have hero units that patrol our highways, so they're watching us in the Transportation Management Center.
Yes.
And so you can call 511 and somebody's right there. So I think we've become accustomed to being rescued, and they just couldn't get to us. There were lanes and lanes of cars and trucks that were just frozen and could not move, so the responders couldn't get through.
But I had no idea as I got even closer some of the accidents I would see off of my main street. Cars running into poles, running off ditches and things.
We had a home that had their entire mailbox just blocking one lane. It was a brick mailbox that had been completely wiped out by some vehicle, I'm sure, prior to us seeing it, that had an entire lane blocked right in a curve. It's like the most inopportune place on the street.
And a lot of people we know stay on the north side of Atlanta, so they probably have no idea some of the things we actually saw because I think it got more concentrated on this side, and most of the people who stayed in most of the traffic all those hours were coming south and west of the city. And
so all of the major thoroughways to get to the west side were just completely shut down. And so when we got home and we had, I of course got here first, and I'm watching the news and I'm just listening to, I was like, these people are not going to make it home because it was already getting dark when you got home. And true to that the following morning when we wake up, schools of course are closed this day, but there are people that slept in their cars on the interstate. Not on the side of the interstate, on a lane on the interstate, could not move. The cover story for our local newspaper, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, was frozen in place, and it just showed some of our major interstates, 6 lanes, full of traffic, nobody moving.
And I think what's interesting, you see people, even my own experience, the first thing I thought about was when I first started home, I had a half a tank of gas. And just watching the gas hand slowly move down and watching my cell phone battery slowly die. And I'm just thinking, it's like, can you imagine you out here, your cell phone is died, your battery on the cell phone is dead, and you can't charge it because chances are you need your gas, you need your car for the heat. So you run out of gas, you're in a cold car, out of gas, no cell phone, no battery, no anything.
And I know that the northerners really just laugh at 2 inches of snow, but we are completely unprepared to deal with it at all. You think about the amount of equipment that they have in place and how quickly they can clear and prepare for the streets, even if it's just sanding or salting or whatever you do. Around here, it's kitty litter. Yeah. So you, however they kitty litter the street. But we don't have that equipment. And it doesn't make sense for us to invest in that equipment for 3 days every 3 years that we get snow. And so with the amount of equipment that we have, with the people that are trained to use them, we literally have to have perfect conditions. School has to be out, the right amount of businesses have to be closed for them to be able to access the streets and do what they need to do. We're just unprepared.
You know, if I had a business that sold that kind of equipment, I would have to have me a location somewhere in the Atlanta area, because Atlanta is one of those hub cities where we have Interstate 75, 85,
we didn't even talk about the flight cancellations.
Oh, yes.
80 of just Delta flights, yeah.
So, you know, Atlanta being a hub of the city the way it is, I would have a business that sold that type of equipment. Even if I didn't sell it to the city of Atlanta, I'll have it on standby for Atlanta to lease from me, but I'll sell it to other surrounding areas, up north areas and things like that, because this is the area that definitely needs it. But the good news from all this was seeing brothers and sisters and the help that we got from each other. But I just thought it was good seeing people helping each other out, and really something good that they were doing with each other.
And I think in times of chaos, because it literally was chaos. I mean, we've had snow before and we've handled it a lot better, but the conditions were different. Not necessarily the snow, sleet, rain, freezing conditions, but the conditions of the city where schools have been canceled, businesses had closed. There was just less volume on the roads. But I think our leaders pull together as best they can. I mean, everybody thinks of Metro Atlanta as Metro Atlanta, but it's really a small piece. I mean, even the county that we sit in is larger than the city. And the metro area is now 13 or 18 counties. And so Atlanta isn't just the city of Atlanta. And we heard a lot from our mayor, Mayor Kasim Reed, and we heard a lot from Governor Deal as he prepared to declare a state of emergency, a natural disaster. 2 inches. That's still just amazing to me. But but they came together. They did the best they could with what they had. They were very vocal and present and answering questions. I think we didn't hear so much from the other outlying city mayors, but our mayor was very vocal. Whether or not you agreed with what he said, what he did, he was there answering questions.
You know, and I saw a lot of posts on Facebook and Twitter about what about the other mayors of the other surrounding towns in Atlanta. And, you know, no disrespect intended, but those were the people wanted to see from, hear from. We wanted to see
from.
If
I lived in that city, I want to hear from you.
But, you know, when crunch time comes, we want to get the ball to the big dog. You know, it's no disrespect intended, but when the game on the line, I didn't want Scottie Pippen taking the last shot. I wanted Michael Jordan taking the last shot.
When you think about the city of Atlanta and the way we are put together, that we call the metropolitan Atlanta area, our mayor, again, has no control over schools. He has 1,500 City of Atlanta employees that he has control over whether or not they leave or come. He can't tell businesses to close. He couldn't tell school districts to close. Schools did what the best they could with the information that they had. When we've had predictions before, I mean, even recently, not to pan out.
And he don't control the interstates.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
the interstates
DOT.
is done by the state. But one thing I can say about that, you could call it what you want to, but I just love the relationship that Mayor Reed and Governor Deal have. You know, they cross party lines, they cross racial lines, they cross age lines, but yet they have a working relationship that this state and city has never had before in my years of living. And for most of you who are older Americans, older Atlantans, you could never say that you've seen a mayor and a governor have this kind of close relationship to come across party lines, age lines, racial lines, and work together for the good of the city and the state. Because really, you know, I know this state is made up of a lot of different cities and counties, but Atlanta is a hub.
Yeah.
You know, you can say what you want to say about Atlanta. You can call us all kind of names for its crime and all this other stuff, but we have a large part in what this state does. Mm-hmm. And you know, and I just thank God those two are able to work together. It seems like they're friends. You know, mm-hmm. Even though they political, I guess what you call them, politicians. I just say they're politicians, mm-hmm. but they seem like they're friends also. And we, as citizens of this great state and its cities and surrounding cities, and we as those who belong to the Christian faith, we are to pray. Mm-hmm. We to pray for them. We to pray for God to guide them and lead them with wisdom, so they might lead us with wise counsel. Mm-hmm.
I also want to just thank God for keeping our first responders mm-hmm. Safe. I think about those educators that remained at the schools with children that were stranded, unable to get to a school bus, or parents unable to get to them. The first responders, the hero units on the highways, the fire department, the police department. I mean, just so many people it took. And I mean, they were busy. Yeah. They were where they could get to. It was just, there was just so much volume, and cars just stopped that they couldn't get everywhere. But I am grateful that all of them made it through the storm safely.
And you know, and a lot of times, you might not know all of your neighbors, but you have a familiarity with what they drive yeah. and things like that. And to see some of the neighbors out who had 4 wheels and yeah. things like that, just clearing roads for us, yeah. you know, burning their own gas and, you know, using their vehicles to help us with our safety. And these are neighbors that you see out in the yard, you wave at them, you know, you might shoot the breeze or talk with them when y'all doing yard work, but you never think about the fact that this person could come to your rescue with a vehicle to just help clear the road. Mm-hmm. When trees fall down because of the ice, they're out there with you with power saws, mm-hmm. you know, cutting trees up and making sure our safe way, so we have a safe way and our passageway is safe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can definitely say that I'm glad that snowpocalypse is over. Snowmageddon is gone. And I am grateful to be able to come to our YouTube viewers with a good report that we are yet alive here in Atlanta. And, you know, we banded together when we needed to.
And I want to say this, and this is, I don't even really know how to pre-qualify this, but everybody in YouTube land know that I'm a huge football fan. Mm-hmm. And I have been saying the past couple of weeks, you know, I was kind of upset that they have the Super Bowl in New Jersey / New York, and it's outdoors. And, you know, you supposed to have a Super Bowl in a nice dome stadium, California, Florida, a nice warm environment. Mm-hmm. So me being the person I am and the selfish football fan that I am, I said, you know, I hope it's snow and ice and do all kind of stuff in New York and New Jersey, because I wanted the NFL leaders to realize that's not a place to have a Super Bowl at. And that was just my own personal perspective. But God, in God's own sense of humor, said, you know, and I know it's just not me that God singled out, but I thought it was funny. Let me give you some of that stuff you were hoping for New York and New Jersey. So it reminded what my old pastor used to say, when you dig a ditch, you better dig 2, because the one you dig for me might be for you. So I apologize, Commissioner Goodell. I apologize to New Jersey and New York. And you all enjoy the Super Bowl that I plan to watch. And the only disappointment is the Atlanta Falcons is not playing in it. But I apologize for hoping that you all had cold, icy rain. And I hope and pray that you all enjoy your Super Bowl. Amen.
And I'm excited about the Super Bowl.
So am I. Mm-hmm. And I guess our next YouTube will be about the Super Bowl Sunday. For those of you all who are champions for Christ, remember, we are wearing our favorite NFL team apparel this coming Sunday. So I expect to see a lot of red, black, and white. And if not, you know, I won't look at you outside of my eye. I understand. Yes, I know I see some Seattle teal and blue and green or whatever their colors are.
You don't even know their colors. Okay.
Well, I think that was a great show. I really enjoyed it. And I'm sure our YouTube subscribers enjoyed it just as well. So until the next time,
good day and good night.